We back, man. We back. Now, as you can see, we got to get into it, man. Is anybody surprised? Are you surprised? Of course we're not surprised. France has called upon its trusted comrade, its trusted ally, its best buddy, the United States of America. Everybody knows the United States of America and France, they are day one homies. They are day one homeboys. You already know what time it is. Whenever France runs into any problems, you already know who they got on speed dial. Who's the first person they're going to call? The United States of America. As you can see, take a look up on the screen. The acting U.S. Deputy Secretary of State meets with the military junta members in Niger. Now, everybody knows the relationship that the United States has with France. It goes all the way back to the American Revolutionary War. In fact, France had sent military assistance to the United States when they were battling for their independence. So the relationship between the two countries, it goes very deep. You could kind of say it's kind of like a friendly rivalry, because even though it's been times of hostility between the two governments, it's always been a sense of solidarity going back at least 2 centuries straight now. Besides the fact that they've had a pretty solid diplomatic relationship for over 200 years, they share common cultural values, common Western values. They claim to represent the same things: democracy, freedom, human rights, etc., etc. And both have somewhat of a sense of interdependence on each other as major players in global politics and the global economy. And besides that, you already know militarily they are aligned. When it comes to military defense, security defense, the United States and France, they rocking together. You already know they rocking together. And this relationship is nothing new. Washington and Paris, bro, they like day one homeboys. Washington and Paris, you already know they coming together. They riding together. And this relationship is nothing new. It's something that you should already expect. In fact, after the Haitian Revolution, the French Minister of Foreign Affairs, Charles Talleyrand, he had wrote to the United States, I believe the Secretary of State, James Madison, at that time, and he said this. Take a look up on the screen. The existence of a Negro people in arms occupying a country it has soiled by the most criminal acts is a horrible spectacle for all the white nations. Now, I love that quote because it really solidifies what I mean when I say that. Even though these different white nations, they have different national identities, when it comes to their race consciousness, when it comes to their understanding of the fact that, listen, as white nations, as European nations, as white men, as European men, we have to stand in solidarity with each other, right? See, the Europeans already understood that centuries ago. Now, as we see what's going on in Niger, we see black men are finally beginning to understand that. Once we see so many of these leaders in West Africa are saying, no, we are not going to fight against our brothers. No, we are not going to go to war with our brothers. No, we standing together regardless of national identity. That's my brother. So now black men in the modern day, we're finally starting to get it. But see, the European nations, the European leaders, they already had this consciousness going all the way back in 1805, right? So it should come as no surprise in the modern day, in 2023, yes, of course, the United States is going to come to the assistance of France, just like France came to the assistance of the United States during the Revolutionary War, just like America came to the assistance of France after the Haitian Revolution. You already know what time it is. You already know. Now, let's get into it. Take a look up on the screen. In my video earlier, I had mentioned that a military plane from the capital of Burkina Faso had landed in Niger hours after the airspace was closed. And I didn't mention it in my previous video because I didn't really understand the background of the information, but now more details have came out. An American airplane was flying over Niger to an unknown destination earlier today. And the plane was labeled as Bandit. And I didn't report on it earlier because I didn't really understand what was going on. Like I said, I like to make sure I have all the information. I'm not jumping out the window until we understand what's going on. So now details have emerged. Take a look up on the screen. Victoria Nuland is in Niger's capital and requested to see the detained president, Mohamed Bazoum. Her request was denied by the military government. Now, first things first, we need to find out who is Victoria Nuland. Take a look up on the screen. Victoria Nuland is an American diplomat currently serving as the Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs. A former member of the Foreign Service, she served as the Assistant Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs at the U.S. Department of State from 2013 to 2017 and the U.S. Permanent Representative to NATO from 2005 to 2008. She held the rank of Career Ambassador, the highest diplomatic rank in the U.S. Foreign Service. Okay, so obviously a high-ranking political official in the U.S. government. All right, big dog status. Let's continue. Senior U.S. diplomat denied meeting in Niger with the junta leaders. Man, same thing happened with ECOWAS. The representatives from ECOWAS went down to Niger. Them boys didn't even answer the front door, man. They went down to Niger. They knocked on the front door. They just stood at the front door looking stupid. They ain't even answer the front door. You know, when you spend so much time knocking, you just in there knocking and shit. Just knocking the door. You knocking on the window. Nobody come. You just go home. You just go the fuck home, man. You just go home. That's what happened. That's what happened to the representatives at ECOWAS, and that's what happened with the U.S. diplomat Victoria Nuland earlier this afternoon. Now let's continue. The junta leaders in Niger refused to let a top U.S. official meet the overthrown president. Victoria Nuland said the commanders rejected her calls to restore democracy and blocked her from meeting Mohamed Bazoum, who is currently under house arrest. Victoria Nuland, the U.S. acting deputy secretary of state, described frank and difficult talks during a 2-hour meeting in the Nigerian capital on Monday as the rebellious commanders again refused to give in to international pressure to stand down. Nuland told reporters that she met with officers including Brigadier General Musa Barmu, who had been named as the new military chief of staff, but the junta did not respond to her request to meet Niger's self-proclaimed new leader, General Chiani, or the detained elected president, Mohamed Bazoum, who is under house arrest and claims he is being held hostage. So basically, the U.S. diplomat Victoria Nuland, she was able to meet, I guess, the second in command or the third or fourth in command, but she did not get to meet the president, the new president, you know, the de facto president, and she did not meet the overthrown president. So she did not meet the coup leader, the head man in charge, and she did not meet Mohamed Bazoum, the president who is currently detained. So, you know, basically, I'm telling you, them boys beating on their chest, bro. They beating on their chest right now. You know, they flexing their muscle. Now let's continue. Her comments came as the West African bloc ECOWAS prepares to meet on Thursday after the coup leaders ignored a deadline to reinstate Bazoum, a move the bloc had earlier warned could lead to an authorization of military intervention. Nuland described the MUNIS officers as unreceptive to the United States urging to return the country to civilian rule. She said, "This was a first conversation in which the United States was offering its good offices if there is a desire on their part, on the part of the people who are responsible for this, to return to the constitutional order. I would not say that we were in any way taken up on that offer." So basically, the military government told the United States, fuck out of here. Now let's continue. Despite the international pressure, the coup leaders have seemed unwilling to back down, and on Sunday night, they closed Niger's airspace until further notice, citing the threat of military intervention. The coup leaders warned that any attempt to violate Niger's airspace would face an energetic and instant response. Basically, what they're saying is, listen, if you fly anything through the sky, we blowing that shit out the sky. Anyways, let's continue. On Monday, an ECOWAS spokesperson said the bloc would hold an extraordinary summit to discuss Niger on Thursday at the organization's headquarters in Abuja. However, the bloc's unity has been shattered by support for the coup leaders from the ruling juntas in Mali and Burkina Faso, who have pledged to come to Niger's defense if necessary. The Malian army said it would send a delegation to the capital of Niger to show solidarity, and a military plane from Burkina Faso was reported to have landed in the Nigerian capital at about 11:20 a.m. I told y'all about that, and I showed y'all that picture of all the military leaders, you know, standing in front of the goddamn presidential palace, taking a picture for the gram. You know what I mean? Take a look up on the screen. And them boys outside, like I told you, they're not hiding. They're not hiding under the cover of darkness like Macron and all his homeboys. Nah, we outside with it. We on the front porch with it. We on the porch. We outside. You know what I'm saying? Holla at me. Let's continue. The coup leader, General Chiani, he denounced the ECOWAS sanctions as illegal and inhumane and rejected what he called an interference in the country's internal affairs. Miller said the United States is in close contact with the ECOWAS leadership and is using diplomacy to help Niger return to civilian rule. Victoria Nuland is the highest level U.S. official to meet in person with the military government. Her trip to the capital city of Niger, made at the request of Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, comes less than 2 weeks after members of Niger's presidential guard seized power and a day after the deadline set by ECOWAS for a military junta to restore the democratically elected president or risk a military intervention. Nuland told reporters on Monday that the United States has kept the door open to continue talking and urged General Barmu and his allies to hear our offer to try to work with them to solve this diplomatically and return to constitutional order. I hope they will keep the door open to diplomacy. We made that proposal, Nuland said. Their ideas do not comport with the Constitution, and that will be difficult in terms of our relationship if that's the path that they take. But we gave them a number of options to keep talking, and we hope they take us up on that. I don't think they're going to take you up on that. Nuland noted that she was not granted a meeting with the self-proclaimed new leader of Niger, General Chiani. So we are left to have to depend on Mr. Barmou to make clear again what is at stake. The United States was pushing for a negotiated solution in Niger, Nuland explained, but it was not easy to get traction there because the coup leaders are quite firm in their view of how they want to proceed. Basically, they're not rocking with you like that, bro. It is what it is. Now, let's continue. Nuland said she was frank about what is at risk if they do not reverse course, and that she explained very clearly the United States has legal responsibilities if the military takeover is formally declared a coup, telling them that it is not our desire to go there, but they may push us to that point. Hey man, what I tell y'all, man, life is about power, man, not morality, not morality. So listen, they talking about they love the people of Niger. We love the people of Niger. We want democracy to flourish in Niger. We want to provide our hand of help to Niger. We want to help the citizens of Niger. But if you disrupt our political and economic interests, then now we have to spill the blood of the people of Niger. Do you see the mentality? I told you life is about power, not morality. Now let's continue. I just wanted to come with that update, man. I just had to come with that update. The United States has sent diplomats over to Niger, but unfortunately for them, the president, the new president, and the old president, they couldn't get in contact with either one. You know, General Chiani, he didn't answer the phone. You know what I mean? General Chiani didn't answer the phone, and President Mohamed Bazoum, we don't know where he's at. You know, they got him locked in the basement somewhere. They got President Bazoum locked in the goddamn. They got President Mohamed Bazoum locked in somebody's backyard in a shed somewhere. You know, in a garage somewhere. We don't know where the hell he's at. And General Chiani, he not answering the phone. You know what I'm saying? He blowing them off. So, anyways, man, I had to come and drop by with that update. It's your boy Neferkari Desalim. Hey, listen. The United States and France, they gonna rock with their boys, man. And the entire European Union is standing behind it. It's not just France doesn't just have the United States behind it. France has the entire European Union. All the member states in the European Union, they are standing behind France, standing in solidarity with the European brothers. So, black man, you gonna stand in solidarity with your African brothers? What you gonna do? Anyways, it's your boy Neferkari Desalim back in the Billy. Yes, indeed. Cash App up on the screen. I'm gone. Peace.
Reincarnated, I'm back in original fashion. I left on a horse and came back in that ass, and I left with abundance and came back to famine. We used to be pyramids, now we be rapping. Look how the mighty have fallen. Used to be running, now we be walking. When you be cooning, that's when they applauded. Selling your soul, your sons and your daughter. Gotta come up in this shit, they stuck in the mix. Really, my heart it be breaking. That's why I'm stacking that paper and handle my business. Pass it down in generation. Talking about money and power and building a nation. That's a deadly combination. Never be watching the TV, they pushing agendas, falsifying information. No, they got malice intentions. Step in the room and I'm feeling the tension. Enemy watching, he blocking my vision. Pay for the check cause I need my redemption. Building my kingdom, I need it protected. Ready for war like a young Money Congo. Never decided the team is the motto. Up in the crib and I'm whipping up waffles. Up in the crib and I'm smoking gelato. I'm chilling, I'm taking my pain and make it ambition. I'm blessed by the gods, but I ain't religious. I came for the power, they came for the bitch. They making no hourly wage, I got business. This shit is an art and they can never be taught. Selling my soul, I can never be bought. Play with my money, I see you ain't caught. Run to the check and I do it for sport. Babylon falling, I go to the source. Packing my luggage and go overseas. Shorty be with me and she so elite. Shorty be chocolate, I'm calling her Hershey. Secret intelligence probably gon' murk me. Don't fuck with brands cause nigga I'm Haitian. Say the wrong shit and you're smacking their faces.